Hey everybody, Tanya here. I'm here today with Warwick's own Rob Cote. Thanks so much again for coming on.
Welcome, my pleasure.
Do appreciate it. Definitely a hardworking guy here and a lot to share, and probably too much for this interview, so we might have to do this again.
Part 2 next week.
Right.
Tune in.
I know, we might have to. Definitely a lot to unfold, unpack. So if you know someone in Warwick, or if you're from the Warwick area, feel free to share the video, drop a comment. And yeah, so it's nice to see someone that takes a stand. I'm kind of the same way myself, and basically I'm not familiar as much with Warwick though. But as far as like even the mayor, so Mayor Picozzi, I mean, I know a lot of us, know him, you like him, you don't like him. So what's your take on it? I mean, I don't know him. The little I have seen or heard about him seemed to be positive. He seems to be a very down-to-earth guy, very reasonable, and I feel like a lot of people share that view. So what is it that you feel about Picozzi?
Well, I mean, people share views on both ends of it. Personally, I think he's highly unqualified, right? He's dropped out of high school, doesn't have a post-secondary education. He has a lot of financial baggage behind him for 30 years. IRS liens against his house for working under the table and not paying taxes. 19 default judgments in the court system, which is all, public information. People that manage their finances in that way should not be managing the finances of the second largest city in the state of Rhode Island. I really don't care what anybody says, but when you run a business and you fail at your business and you fail in your own personal method of handling your finances, which drags you into court dozens of times, and then you default on the payments that the court has ordered, those type of people should not be in charge of neither a corporation or a municipality. And that's just my thought. Other people may disagree with that, but I would beg to have somebody find one CEO that has the financial track record and background of Mayor Picozzi that is presently employed, because you won't find one. Your financial history and your credit history is an important thing that people need to reflect upon and look upon when they're choosing a candidate for office, whether it's mayor or governor or city councilman or state rep. Your ability to manage finances is an extremely important thing when you're talking about managing taxpayers' monies.
But do you agree that there are people that find him to be helpful in certain ways?
Yeah, of course.
Very everyday. Oh,
yeah,
he's just
absolutely.
a normal person. He's not this fancy schmancy. Do you agree with that?
Of course I agree with that. Mm-hmm. And I would also make the statement that most of those people probably have never been to a city council meeting, have never been to a budget hearing, and probably have little to no knowledge whatsoever of determining the fiscal wellness of the city that they live in.
Right. Okay. And I hadn't thought of this before, but it's coming to me now. So do you have an idea of someone in Warwick that would be good? Like a great mayor?
No.
Do you feel there is someone in Warwick that would serve as a better mayor than him?
They would have to step up to the plate and do so, and then, I wouldn't speculate on that. If somebody came and decided to throw their hat in the ring, I would do my due diligence, as I do in every election, and I do background checks on people to see, what type of baggage they have, if they're a good communicator, if they have a skill set, and where they want to go in the direction of the city.
Right. So would that matter? Would you prefer they be a Republican, or would it not matter?
It doesn't matter as long as people have the right path in mind for the future of the city. Look, okay. I don't care what any of the people that say whether they like me, they don't like me, they like the mayor, they don't like me. If you think that this city is going in the right way, you're grossly mistaken. And it tells me that you haven't done your homework. The city is moving towards insolvency. There is no question about it. In this very same room 2 years ago, I hosted a standing room only venue, and I had Ken Block here and I had Judge Flanders here, and Judge Flanders came out and said, there is no mathematical formula for Warwick not to go into insolvency. Mm-hmm. And those are people that are much higher level when it comes to business professionals and and the ability to look at and scrutinize municipal finances.
Right. Okay. All right. And as far as the firefighters, Picozzi, I know there was some things in the past with that. So do you feel Picozzi didn't handle that well as well with the outcome of the findings?
So there's been several things with the firefighters that I take issue with, and have for a long time, the fact of the matter that they engaged in unlawful activity and basically stole money from the taxpayers. It's all been documented. We had federal investigators involved in this situation. Violation of policies. Look, there's a point where you have to look at all your departments as a good mayor, as a good leader, and say, are we doing everything as efficiently and cost effective as possible? And the answer to that is no, and I think I've been able to show it, not just with the fire department, with DPW, and all the departments, school department in Warwick, that the behavior is not conducive to running an efficient municipality. And it's wasteful, and it impacts the community, and it impacts those people that are really living day to day. There's a lot of people in Warwick that are living day to day, senior citizens. And, this mayor has blown more money and spent more one-time money that we will have to come and back and pay for again, in another fiscal year that we don't have. So whether it's the fire department, DPW, the purchasing of equipment. I mean, tonight at the city council meeting, the police department wants to buy a $361,000 armored personnel carrier. So I've been in Warwick for 64 years, and I've yet to be able to recall, and I got a good memory, when we had such a violent attack or incident in the city of Warwick where we needed a military-style vehicle, an armored personnel vehicle. So, and the answer is, well, it's APRA money, it's free. Well, APRA money isn't free. APRA money comes from taxpayers' dollars. So we're spending lots of money on toys, $85,000 on a dog park, $35,000 on marine electronics for the harbor master whose duties are within the harbor. There's all types of expenditures. We purchased recently, through a grant, a $750,000 heavy rescue truck, which is the size of a bus. We could have got 3 advanced life support rescues for that money, which would have been much more helpful for the community. So yeah, when it comes to wasting money and using money in what I think is, from a business point of view, inappropriate use of money when it could be expended in more of an efficient way to help the taxpayers and to keep control of taxes, then I speak out about it. And it doesn't matter whether it's firefighters, DPW, the mayor's office. The mayor recently spent $25,000 on gym equipment for the employee break room and built the shower. It's hardly ever used. These are things that when your community is living day to day basically on a shoestring budget, because, we also want to build, $500 million worth of schools, you need to look at your expenditures. And then you need to correlate your expenditures with your unfunded liabilities, right? We're approaching $1 billion in unfunded liabilities. Let me give you an example. With healthcare, right? Warwick gives free lifetime healthcare to all its former employees. And the cost of that right now, unfunded, meaning how much we're going to have to pay in the future, is $452 million that we owe for healthcare. Can anybody, all the mayor's, followers, can they suggest how much money is in the account for the healthcare fund? Would you know?
Oh, I have no idea.
0. No money.
Currently.
None.
Currently. Right.
So a healthcare fund is supposed to work like a pension, where the beneficiaries put money into it through weekly donations, weekly deposits, whatever. And that money goes into an investment vehicle to be built, right, to gain interest, to go back to pay for the benefit of the free lifetime health care. Warwick is paying as we go. Every year the health care cost goes up and up and up, more and more and more, and we don't have the money to pay for it. So every year your unfunded liability, when I started filing this, was $235 million. It's $452 million, plus or minus a couple pennies. Yeah. There's no money for it. We don't have any money in the bank that's being invested into investment vehicles or CDs or municipal bonds or treasury bonds to be able to take that burden off of the most sensitive people, mostly the seniors in Warwick. Right. Do you think that's smart business? I don't think that's smart business.
So that falls on Picozzi or one of the committees?
No. That falls on, that has been built up over a number of years through Mayor Aberdeen mostly, Joe Solomon, and now look, Picozzi inherited it. I get it. I'm not blaming him for that. But he's done nothing to curtail it. And actually, he's actually implemented, another program that's going to make it worse, adding another $68 million worth of debt to codify long-term lifetime health care. And that's can be a discussion for another day because it's a very involved, intricate discussion.
Right. Okay. All right. And still, and as far as with the firefighters, for any of them, or maybe people in their family or anything, how would you feel if they just said, God, this guy Rob, he's like Warwick's Watchdog, Rob Cote, he's following my son around, he's following my uncle around, or this or that, we don't like him, or, does he have anything better to do with his time? How do you answer that?
Well, I got a lot of things better to do with my time. The fact of the matter is I don't actively go out. It's so prevalent that you can go out and film it any day. We can leave here today and I can take you to a place where I can guarantee you there's DPW workers hiding out not doing any work. So the fact of the matter is this is not being targeted at a person, right? This is being targeted at a system that's broken, that's not working correctly. And we're paying for it, all right? I'll give you an example. In the 2016 budget hearings, I asked Mayor Aberdeen, is there anything that we could do to operate more efficiently? And Mayor Aberdeen said, quote unquote, and you can listen to it on the city website, the city is running as lean and efficiently as possible. The next day, myself and a local reporter followed the DPW truck, W32, who was supposed to fill potholes. We followed that truck the entire day. The two men in the truck never left the truck. They never filled one pothole, and at 2:30, they went behind the city yard and dumped it in the waste bin. The following morning, they did the same thing. They picked up 1 ton of asphalt from P.J. Keating's on Route 37, drove around the entire city for 8 hours, and never filled one pothole.
And you have this on camera?
It's on camera.
And you brought it to the mayor's attention? Or?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It made the news. It made Channel 12. It made all the news. It made the local newspapers. That stuff is still happening. Right, the driving around, wasting time, wasting fuel. A couple weeks ago, I filmed a dump truck sitting for 3 hours at the Oakland Beach boat ramp with the engine running, the guy playing on his phone for 3 hours.
Wow.
Did nothing, right? So let me ask your viewers if they think this is okay, because I'll go out on a limb here because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. If your contract says that you're allowed a 15-minute break, what does that mean? So what people got to understand, the workers in the city of Warwick, much like myself, we're blue-collar workers, right? We're not corporate executives. We don't get to take the corporate jet and the corporate limo wherever we want, right? So if you're working, say, at the ball field and you're cutting the grass and your contract says you're allowed a 15-minute break, what does that mean? Does that mean that typically the breaks are at 9 o'clock? So does that mean at 8:45 you stop your work, you get in the city truck, you drive halfway across the city, you go to the local coffee shop, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, or whatever, and you stay there for 15 or 20 minutes, and then you drive back to where you were originally working and start work again? Is that how that works? No. Well, that's what's going on, all right? That's what the contract says. The contract says 1 15-minute break for all four consecutive hours work. What does the contract say about lunch? The contract says that the workers shall be allowed 1 30-minute lunch break. Does that mean that we're working on a North Country Club field? We leave there at 11:20. We drive all the way back from North Country Club field to the city yard on Sandy Lane. We get there about 11:45, 20:12. We start our lunch, and then we leave there at 20 minutes of 1, 1:15, and then we drive back to where we were originally working, inclusive of the backhoe, by the way, a backhoe. Right, which does about 15 miles an hour. And then we get back and then we resume work again. So if we have contracts and they have specific parameters of contracts, do we follow them or do we just, run haphazard and do whatever we want to benefit ourselves, all right? So the idea that this city is working efficiently, to me, is a joke because I see it every day. And I'm not the only person that sees it. We've had Channel 10, Channel 12, Channel 6 do all kinds of undercover stuff on the Department of Public Works, on the fire department, so forth and so on, even in the finance department. And there is a lot of room to tighten our belts so the city can run more efficiently. Because what we're going to do, we're just going to leave this massive debt to our kids. And quite frankly, if you have smart kids, God bless you, they're leaving. They're not going to stay here and assume this debt. Your kids are leaving. And so at the end of the day, the incompetence of the corner office for the past 3, even longer than that, goes back to Chafee as well, that has built up a debt in this city that the next generation is not going to be able to bear and pay for without significant changes. And then when you throw in the construction in these new schools, I will say I told you so at the end of it, because they're not going to build these schools for what they said. They will not be the size. They will not come in on the money that they said. They will cut everything down to try to meet that budget. I build schools for a living. I've been doing it for almost 30 years. Warwick will not build these 2 schools as presented to the general public for what they had presented it money-wise.
And why? Just a short answer, why?
Costs have gone through the roof. Their analysis was incorrect. Okay. There was $74.5 million worth of errors within the first chapter on their financial statement. Nobody caught. I caught it, right? They forgot to tell everybody in the stage 2 application that there was an $11.7 million one-time bonding fee. So all these things, and I screamed and yelled, I laughed because my expertise is in structural steel. When I saw the cost of the structural steel package, I laughed. When they did a third-party review, the structural steel package came back an additional $24 million. Then the city council did another review. I had said a year and a half ago, you will not build these schools for less than $382 million. I don't care what anybody says. They're wrong. Well, when the city council, when the city of Warwick did their third review by Alana company that does these construction reviews, at the end of the day, it came back at $383 million. So the voters were sold $350 million on a 20-year bond with a specified payback, with an amortization schedule. When you went to the polls, all that data was there. It's all changed now, right? It's all changed. We showed we're going to have 507,000 square feet, and we're going to have a walking track, and we're going to have this gymnasiums. It's all getting cut out. The gym's getting cut out. The walking track's getting cut out. The ceilings are getting cut out. It's not going to be a Category 4 emergency shelter. Things of that nature. All this stuff that's no air conditioning. How about that? No air conditioning. The ball fields that they promised, all cut out. Right? So what we're doing is we're value engineering to bring the number in. The point being is everything that was sold to you people at the ballot box, if you go back and you look at it, and you look at the specifics, every parameter was changed. The length of the loan. So now Peter Schaefer, another dope in the city, the finance director, says, well, instead of using a 20-year bond for the school, we'll go out to 30. And that will lower our annual payment. It does, but it adds another $50 million on the back end. By the way, the voters voted for a 20-year bond with a specified interest rate and a specified amortization schedule. That's out the window. You getting what you voted for? No, you're not. I don't hear anybody screaming and yelling about that. Yep, we need new schools. I've been saying for 10 years we need new schools. I brought experts in the industry to members of the city council. Donna Travis called me an asshole on a live microphone when I got up and I said, here's how you build schools. Number of students times 200 square foot per student times $350 a square foot for elementary and $400 a square foot for high school. I was called the a-hole on a live microphone at a council meeting by Donna Travis. Well, you know what's changed now, folks? It's now not $350 a square foot. It's $800 to $850 a square foot. Every school that I've done, I did 5 this year. This year alone, 5. Every one of them, massive cost overruns. You think Warwick's going to be different?
Right.
It's not going to happen. Right. So you've got to read the documents, and people don't read the documents. The documents are there. Read the documents, do some analysis. Look, this is protecting your own community. If you don't care, that's fine. You know, that's your prerogative not to care. I care, and when I see something that I don't like, I open my mouth.
Right. No, sounds good. And everybody, don't forget, I'm here today with Rob Cote, Warwick's Watchdog, also known as Warwick's Watchdog. Feel free to like and share. Feel free to comment. And just looping back to I do have other questions too, but looping back to the firefighters and DPW. Do you have anything positive to say about anybody that's a firefighter in Warwick or on the DPW? that you feel
Well,
is
you're asking me to say
positive
something positive to a particular person. Any criticism that I've ever given is not to a particular person, okay? Look, they do their job. They're supposed to do their job.
Okay.
So,
5 minutes, yeah.
you know, getting back to that, my mom utilized the Warwick Fire Department a lot in her lifetime, and they were professional. They helped her out. You know, they did a great job. But you have to look at the efficiency factor. And like I said before, we have policies in place and we have contracts in place and specified areas of contracts that just are not being followed, right? And you know, the whole situation with the unused overtime, it was a scheme to abscond money, and they did so. And they did a great job of it too. I mean, they did a good job of it. So this is not, again, it's not a vendetta against any one particular person. It's the system needs correction. It's just that simple.
Right, okay. Thank you. And the bridge, the 195 bridge, anything you want to touch on with that? Or did you see this coming? Or 4 years worth of documents, copied and pasted? I don't know how that even, who reviews these documents? That you just write the same report?
There's 4 reports out right now.
I mean, it's amazing.
2020 to 2023, and they're online. Yeah. And, you know, I see all these media personnel talking about the bridge. None of them read the reports. You know, I had to go on the air and tell Matt Allen on WPRO to, hey, look, tell all these people, read the reports, look at the photos. It takes time. You have to do that. These reports are remarkably similar, cut and paste from one page to the next page. But there's a lot more to it than that, right? You're going to see that this bridge is going to be a major interruption to commerce and to people's livelihoods, major inconvenience. For people that think that this bridge will be down for 3 months, that when it happened, I laughed at that notion as soon as I saw the reports. It's not going to be down for 6 months. My feeling...
Yeah, so we'll do a bridge thing.
Yeah, so the bridge, like... This is not going to be a 6-month fix. Let's just leave it at that. This is going to be a long-term problem. They may put a patch on it, you know, and I use the word patch, you know. But this will be a long-term fix, and I think you're going to see a lot of other information that will be unearthed during oversight hearings and as documents continue to be made public.
Right.
So you're not going to be saving any time commuting on the I-95, 195 east or westbound in the near future, folks. Plan some extra time.
Right. So you think definitely, do you have an estimate? I know it depends on which
I don't, but
take, but you know.
it looks to me like this bridge is going to be a complete tear down. That's what it looks like to me. I don't see them putting all kinds of money in to shore it up. Maybe they will temporarily, but I think a reasonable person, after looking at all the photographs over the last 4 years that are publicly made, but here's the key, you actually have to go and read them, right? And you do that, and you look at these photos, I think most people will be very, very alarmed and skeptical if whether we should dump millions and millions of dollars into put some Band-Aids on some critical infrastructure as opposed to coming up with a way to efficiently and effectively, you know, rebuild this bridge. So there's a lot of people, a lot of higher up the food chain, a lot smarter than me that are working on that. But if I had to guess, I'd say this is probably going to be a multi-year inconvenience for people.
Like years?
Multi-year, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right, and how about, and jumping back to the Warwick City Council, there was a newspaper article, and honestly, I wasn't familiar with any of that, with the land, so if you want to just mention to the viewers, what's her name, Donna, you said, her name? Donna Travers, am I saying it right?
Oh, you're referring to when the councilwoman from Ward 6, Donna Travers, trampled on my First Amendment, and now has ended up in a federal lawsuit. That was July 17th or July 18th this past year when I got up to the public comment section. And I had 3 things to say, and one of them was, I was being a little sarcastic, congratulating her for making another front page of the Providence Journal because she's embroiled in a shady land deal. That's in the court system as well. She stopped me and she had a police officer remove me, which violated my First Amendment right, and the result of that is an ongoing federal lawsuit. And we'll wait and see what the end result is, but I can tell you I can tell you as of last week, because of the incident that took place in Warwick, the American Civil Liberties Union did a complete study on all of the municipalities in the state of Rhode Island about how they conduct and allow the general public to comment at open meetings. And it was alarming, and there's gross violations all over the state. So hopefully the issue that took place with me will serve as a vehicle to put in place better rules and better language in city charters and in council rules to allow people to be able to speak. Let's face it, the fundamental premise that this country was built upon was the First Amendment. And whether a public official likes what you're going to say to them or not is irrelevant. Once you're a public official, you open yourself up to that type of criticism. And when people come, like myself, when I come to a council meeting to speak, I come with documents, official documents. I don't speak about anything unless I've reviewed documents. And when you're on the front page of the Providence Journal, because you're involved in a shady land deal that is now wound up in Superior Court, and you're a public official, well, that's open to scrutiny. It's just that simple. That's the law. And so when someone does that and you try to remove them from a council meeting, you wind up in some hot water, and that's where Councilwoman Travis is now. She's in some hot water.
And really for two reasons, not only for the land deal, but also because of her behavior towards you.
Well, yeah, towards
So
me,
double.
it's a federal lawsuit.
double.
Well, that's with all of the other multiple cases that she has in the Kent County court system as a defendant over several years.
From other Warwick taxpayers?
No, from other shady issues. Again, all this, go to rijudiciary.com and put her name in, and you see that she's been involved in several cases as a defendant. For whatever the reasons were. I leave it to you to do your own research, but but I'm the type of guy, I don't go away. And they clearly haven't understood that yet. I don't go away, and I follow things to the end. So we're now involved in a federal lawsuit, which at one point will come to the end, and I think that what you'll see is there'll be some changes throughout the state and the way municipal bodies allow people to speak in public, and that's the goal. Is that nonsense needs to end, because you cannot sequester someone's First Amendment. Right,
definitely, and well said. But my other question is, because I'm not familiar with this Donna Travers woman, how long has she had this seat for with City Council?
22 years.
So why is it, I wonder why the taxpayers continue to vote her into office?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, do you think people just don't know some of these facts? Or they
Listen, the vast majority of voters go to the polls and haven't read anything about their particular candidate. It's just, you vote for the name. Oh, I like this person, I like that person. I don't know, but I think we're at a crossroads here, folks. It's time you start to put some thought into who you're going to elect. Because in the absence of it, look around the city of Warwick. Does it look like it's getting better to you? Look at the roads. Look at the infrastructure. More importantly, look at our balance sheet. Do you think it's getting better, right? When your debt keeps increasing and your assets keep decreasing, you have a problem, right? And there's no end in sight, right? And all the employees, they want raises every year. So where's the money coming from? Right? Where's the money coming from? Right. So I really, you can cast judgment if you will, but unless you've looked at the city's balance sheet, unless you've studied the finance of the city, I would hold your comments or derogatory remarks about me or anybody else that does take the time to look at this and bring to everyone's attention that we're going down a really slippery slope. And, the city of Warwick cannot continue to sustain the type of expenditures that we're going through. It just can't. There's a finite amount of tax money. So you got to think about that.
Right. All right, okay. All right, so guys, Rob Cote's here, Warwick taxpayer, and Warwick's Watchdog. Anything you want to close with? Or?
I got to get back to my Rottweiler. She's all alone. She misses me.
All right, no, everything was well